Hey guys, I was watching this one guy and he was talking about the secret to money and I thought that was really good advice. You know, the he basically says the difference in the rich and the poor is the poor people, you know, go to work and they use that money to buy depreciating things, you know, food or clothing or um, alcohol, you know, things that are gone. Whereas rich people, they know that inflation, the dollar is always going down usually. Of course, in the recent history, the dollar was actually going up. But normally, you know, a dollar next year, instead of being worth a dollar, well, it's still going to be worth a dollar next year, but that dollar is no longer worth a dollar next year. That dollar next year may only be worth 98 cents because of 2% inflation, and which is the historical value. And then the year after that, the same dollar might be 96 cents. And then the year after that, that same dollar is now worth 94 cents. And you know, so you're taking you're taking money that is depreciating in value, and your goal is to invest in assets that will be worth more in the future, that go up, called financial assets, either real estate, which a lot of people in this country have made a lot of money off of real estate. But I would say that what's better than real estate is the stock market, because um, you're not often going to find a home that's worth $1 million for selling for $1, but sometimes you might. Or you know, you might find a $1 million painting in a trailer in the back of your yard at a house you just bought, or it might be an old safe or something with a bunch of gold in it or something. Who knows? You know, maybe grandma threw some money in the attic or something, and years later you found it. But that happens. I mean, who knows? You might buy a house and it might have been owned by the a cartel or something. It might have millions of dollars in the walls, but but a more realistic way of making a lot of money is by buying undervalued stocks and securities, and or taking a speculation here and there. You know, I remember when COVID hit. I can't remember what Occidental Petroleum was at that time. It was probably, I want to say it was less than $10. Um, I almost want to look it up right now just to see. But and then it had gone like to 80 or something. But yeah, I remember when it was less than $10, and you know, if you had bought this thing at $10 and then it went to 70, you know, that's a good return. That's a good return on your money. Yeah, this is when to buy it right here, when it took that big old doo doo. right on there in the dumper. But yeah, you don't get these opportunities very often, but every once in a while there will be a little an opportunity, and we got to grab them. but but yeah, you basically want to create. Before you're trading your time for money, and so you have to go to work every day. Because in order to get money, you have to go to work. But if you start accumulating these financial assets, these real estate or stocks, invest in these dividend paying companies, all of a sudden now you have extra income. And then with that extra income, you're reinvesting that money, and you're buying more and more assets, and eventually you don't need to work anymore because your assets can pay your bills. Your financial assets will pay enough dividends to cover your living expenses. You're basically investing in your future. It might take a couple years for your hard work to pay off, but eventually that will happen. But whereas the poor person who doesn't own any financial assets, they're they spend all their money on lottery tickets, and they spend all their money on alcohol, and they spend all their money on cars, and they spend all their money on clothes, and they spend all their money on trips, and they spend all their money on food. And the smart investor, maybe they'll have 100 shares of Google or 100 shares of Microsoft, and 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, or whatever their replacement's going to be. And they actually have these financial assets that are 20 or 30 years into the future worth many times what they paid for them. And in the stock market, you can either make money. I don't know where my damn cursor went. I guess it disappeared. I don't know. But where the fuck is my mouse? But say you buy it here and you sell it up here. You bought it for $5, and then now it's worth $20. And not only that, they were paying a 3% dividend. So, let's say this is 20 years or so, and then every year they probably increase that dividend. But not only were you getting the dividend income, but then you're also getting the income when you sell. And in this case, you would 4x your money. Your stock that was $5 going to $20, and then plus in the meantime, while you were waiting, you were getting a 3% dividend, staying ahead of inflation the whole time. Usually, well, except this COVID period. But eventually they will overshoot, and we will have deflation, in my opinion. So this inflation we are experiencing right now is transitory, in my opinion, and is temporary. It's not permanent. But yeah, people. This is the secret. You got to do something with your money, and you know, say you got $1, and you want that dollar to have some children, and you want a bunch of children, and maybe these are just pennies. Maybe this is just 1 cent. So your dollar is having babies, and then I want my pennies to have babies, and I want their pennies to have babies, and I want a big old family of just a bunch of people working for me. And the 1 penny comes 2 pennies, and then those pennies become more pennies, and then the cycle just continues, and then you get more dollars, and then you can do the whole process over again. And but that's the way you got to think of, every dollar bill in your pocket, is one of your warriors working for you, and one of your soldiers, and you got to send them out to battle every day, and they got to work, and those soldiers are fighting for you, and working for you, and those soldiers are gonna create money, and then that interest upon interest is going to create more and more money, and it's just going to build and build and build, and then next thing you know, it's exponential. And whereas the other person who, they're just buying drinks for everybody at the bar, or buying the fanciest car, or buying the fanciest watch, and yeah, they got a car they could sell later on, or they got a watch they could sell, and maybe it goes up in value, maybe it doesn't, but a lot of those people, they're buying things that go down in value, that don't go up. And it's easy to make money, but it's hard to keep it. And one thing that we're trying to do, at least me personally, is generational wealth. And I'm not just talking about me in my lifetime. I'm talking about your children's children, or the fourth generation. You want that money to last hundreds of years. You don't want to be like the Vanderbilts, and they had left their children $100 million, and 100 years ago, where $100 million was actually a lot of money, and now there wasn't even a millionaire among them. Gone. They wasted it. They didn't invest in things that go up in value. They blew it. And they were not very wise. Whereas you got other ones like the Rothschilds that left a system in place for their family, and that created generational wealth for hundreds of years. So that's what I want to do. I want to start a legacy that 100 years from now, 200 years from now, 300 years from now, that my family has has grown on and have grown that wealth instead of destroyed it. Anyway, thanks for watching.